same. There's some people that just like to kick back and coast through life, and others want to be very intense and want to be number one and want to be successful. That's like me. I always wanted to be very intense. I always wanted to be number one. I took it very seriously in my career.
Yes, come on! Come on! Come on!
So this was the same when I started with bodybuilding. I didn't want to just be a bodybuilding champion. I wanted to be the best bodybuilder of all times.
Come on! Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Come on!
Okay, before I went to Modell's, I actually had a broomstick and 2 cinder blocks because I literally didn't have enough money to go to Modell's and get like a $60 weight set. So I started with a broomstick and cinder blocks, and I started doing floor presses, bicep curls. I mean, the internet connection there was really slow. It was like dial-up. But it was enough for me to go on YouTube and learn about working out. And I found that, you know, with all the time on my hands, it was like, what better to do? So I did it, and it became like an addiction. And I remember I had posing videos of when I was just shirtless, hitting poses at like 13, 14 years old, and I was in good shape. And that made me feel good. So after about a year of training with the broomstick and cinder block, I graduated to a weight set from Modell's. And then shortly after that, when I'm 15, now I'm back in America. Now I'm back in the States. I'm back in New York City, right? And then for a couple of years, I was jumping between gyms. I picked up boxing. I had a couple of friends. All my friends, all the people I knew were at the gym, right? Because that's the only place I went. Getting bigger and stronger was the only thing that I thought I was good at. I wasn't good at studying. I wasn't good at pushing myself to do anything else because I didn't care about anything else. That's all I really knew and all I really cared for, all I was passionate about. The only thing I wanted to get better at was working out, getting bigger and stronger. That no matter how dark it may seem right now, you look for the light. Because there is good in your life right now. Even if you don't see it, you need to look harder because it is there. I was jumping between gyms, and then finally I moved to Washington Heights where I settled down for a little bit, and I went to the gym called Jay's Big Gym. It was a hardcore bodybuilding gym, right? It was on 181st Street in St. Nicholas. As long as you're making progress, as long as you're better now than you were last year, that's a PR. And small PRs, a lot of small PRs make it for a really big PR. But I didn't just wake up one day and squat 900 pounds. I started at 225, then 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, and then I had that same intensity, passion, and gratification when I nailed those PRs along the way as I did when I hit 900. Those small PRs that add up to 900 are equally as important as a big 900 PR. So I just want to encourage you guys to place that same intensity or that same passion you may have hitting the gym, hitting your PRs in here as you would to everything else outside of your life. And just because you may come short of your goals, whatever that may be, you know, maybe you're at a new job and you want to get a promotion faster, but it just didn't happen. Maybe it did happen, but it didn't happen in the timely fashion that you wanted it to be. As long as you're making progress, as long as you're better now than you were last year, that's a PR. Mistakes are gonna keep coming. You're always gonna make mistakes. It's part of living. But it's how you learn from those mistakes that makes you the person you are today. How you learn from those mistakes, how your attitude towards it, and then what you learn from it. Because what I learned from that is gonna stick with me and help me progress for years to come.
Yes, come on! Come on! Come on!
But you have to dig deep down and ask yourselves, who do you want to be? Not what, but who. And I'm talking about not what your parents and teachers want you to be, but you. I'm talking about figuring out for yourselves what makes you happy, no matter how crazy it may sound to the people.
When I was a kid, I did deal with bullying. I dealt with poverty. I dealt with growing up in the ghetto. I dealt with living off food stamps. I dealt with being raised by a single mom with abusive boyfriends and bad influence all around me. And so I also dealt with being surrounded by people growing up who were not successful. To me, if I look back then, they weren't successful, so it motivated me to, I always want to stand out from the pack. I always want to be different. You need to place the same intensity, the same discipline, same commitment as you would trying to do PR in the gym as you would in your life goals. Nothing makes me feel better than hitting a PR to trying to be the best, trying to be number one. I did powerlifting because I knew my potential and I felt like I owed it to the powerlifting community to realize my potential, to reach my true potential. Because I care about being the best at powerlifting because I have a gift and I feel really shitty and like I'm betraying the powerlifting community if I realize I have this gift and I don't do anything with it. I couldn't sleep at night. I have a guilty conscience. I feel like I'm just wasting a gift away. And I'm so happy that I realized it and then I continue to maximize my potential in powerlifting. Hitting a PR is not about being better than somebody else. Hitting a PR is about being better than yourself. Your biggest competition is yourself. You may have heard this before and it may sound corny, but it is so true. When I hit 500 pounds in the deadlift, when the first time I hit that, I felt just as amazing and excited as when I hit 900. When you're passionate about something, passion is probably the strongest emotion you can have. Passion can drive you to go to lengths you never thought you would go to. And that's part of the reason why it feels so good to make progress in something you're passionate about. It matters so much to you because you love it, you're passionate about it. You want to be the best you can be at it. And then eventually once you realize that you're passionate about it, once you find your passion and you realize that this is just something you're passionate about, you start comparing yourself to other passionate people. Nobody is going to be the best at anything right away. Nobody is that talented where your first year doing it, you're the best. You're one of the best. But your ability and your attitude to learn from your mistakes and stay consistent and dedicated towards just bettering yourself and really just holding yourself accountable for the mistakes you make can get you so far. Your attitude towards failure is super important. I didn't see a light. Like I didn't see a way to get out of poverty. Mistakes are gonna keep coming. You're always gonna make a mistake. It's part of living. And it can be hard to come to terms with that, hard to accept that. Always gonna make mistakes. But it's how you learn from those mistakes that makes you the person you are today. How you learn from those mistakes, how your attitude towards it, and then what you learn from it. Because what I learned from that is gonna stick with me and help me progress for years to come.